Question, Anna. How long does it take you to decide whether or not you like someone?
I mean, I think it has to be within like a minute or less. Within a
Right.
minute or less.
What's really interesting is, according to research, 100 milliseconds is all it takes to decide whether or not we like someone. Isn't
Wow.
that interesting? So, this is some
Yeah.
research out of Princeton, and they found out that we judge people instantly, and we tend to keep that initial judgment with us the whole time we know them. So, there really truly is something to that idea of you only have one chance to make a first impression.
Wow.
So, the question we're talking about today is really what is that based on? We
Yeah.
came across this topic of face reading. Welcome to our channel. I'm Shannon. This is my daughter Anna, and we've been exploring different topics around intuition. And we thought maybe face reading was something that we could look into because when we meet someone, as we've just learned, we do instantly judge them. And what is that?
Yeah.
What are we doing? What are we basing that on?
Because I want to say quick too, I looked up 1 minute is 60,000 milliseconds.
Wow.
So it's
Right.
like 100 milliseconds. It's seriously instantly.
It's
Mhm.
instantly. So are we reading their faces? Are we reacting to something about them? What is it? So
Or the
that's what we're
energy
going to
field.
get into
Yeah.
today.
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay, so I did a little research into does face reading really work? And I will say there are schools of face reading traditions that I found that are absolutely certain that there is something to this. I did look up some modern science, and we are going to find out that, yeah, there is something to some of it. It's really, really interesting. When we get to the end, what I have for you is a little test where I have a bunch of different celebrities and famous people where I'm going to show you just little snippets of their face. And I'm going to see, can you tell? Is there a difference between somebody, say, who is a criminal and somebody who is maybe a Nobel Prize winner, for example? So
Wow.
we're going to
Okay.
do that at the end. So first, let's talk about what is face reading and does it really work? Okay, so face reading is formerly known as physiognomy, and it's appeared in almost every major civilization as a way to link outward appearance to inner character or future destiny. So you've definitely heard phrases like have a stiff upper lip or why the long face, that kind of stuff. This all comes from these traditions around the idea that our faces actually show something more about us than just what we look like. So,
Hmm.
face reading traditions claim that faces can reveal your personality traits, your intelligence, um, which intelligence is spelled wrong there. Oh, that's gonna really bug me. Okay, I'm gonna leave it. It's in there. Intelligence, okay? Your moral character, your criminal tendencies, and your future behavior, all by what does your face look like? Supposedly, we carry these things on our faces. Okay,
Hmm.
I want to differentiate this from skull reading, which is known as phrenology. We often lump these together with the face because they both involve the head, but they operate on entirely different principles. So maybe that's something we can look at another time as skull reading. You've definitely heard of people doing that where they'll put the hands and just decide what bumps or lumps are on your head, and that also means something. But that is different than what we're talking about today. So I just wanted to differentiate the two.
Hmm.
Okay, so let's start talking about the different traditions. First one I found was Mianshang, which is the Chinese tradition. This dates back over 3,000 years, and this is one of the most comprehensive systems I've found. If you go on YouTube and you look up Chinese face reading, look at your cat wants he's like, look at my face. This is one of the most comprehensive systems, and it divides the face into 12 houses.
Wow.
And it represents, the 12 parts of your face represent things like your wealth, your parents, your career, and then three rivers, your forehead for your youth, your nose for the middle age, and your chin for your old age. And it
Wow.
uses these five elements to categorize your face shapes. And people really believe this Chinese face reading. I was just watching a video of a Chinese face reader, and it was so interesting the things they were saying. But even the person that they were reading was talking about how they were just absolutely spot on with what they were saying, which is kind of crazy because what's going on with that? I mean, face reading has a bit of intuitive art to it,
I was just thinking
for
that. I was
sure.
like, I'm wondering if when you're doing this for so long, you almost get into a flow. It's like, I wonder if you're just like straight channeling too. You're
Yes,
seeing the features, but because we're like we've talked about, we're all a part of this energy field. It's like reflecting the features are reflecting that inner field. And then when you have someone that can pick that up and then is able to channel that out, and then
right.
it's on, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, no, it kind of makes sense. So this Chinese tradition is thousands of years old, and there's obviously a lot of writings about it, and this is something that's still done today, still used today. Okay, so the next one I found.
We should try to find a Chinese face reader.
Yeah, we should, we really should. This was the Japanese and Korean traditions. Now, both of these are really cousins to the Chinese tradition, but adapted to their own culture. So this
Hmm.
is Ninso and Gwansong. Ninso focuses heavily on balance and harmony of the features, while Gwansong is still used in modern Korea for assessing personality and professional capability. I actually
Wow.
found a lot of videos on YouTube about Korean face reading, and it's just really interesting, this whole idea of it should be balanced, it should be symmetrical, and anything deviating from that uh, says something. And that is something we see in a lot of places. So this is also the Indian Vedic tradition, Sumudrika Shastra. This is part of a broader study of bodily features. This tradition suggests that a person's physical traits reflect their karma and their soul's journey. It's not limited to the face, but includes the hands and feet, often used in conjunction with Vedic astrology. And this is something for sure I know about. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, there's a story about this sage named Piranjana, and he becomes really, really obsessed with his wife. And in his next life, he's born a woman. There's
Hmm.
another story about a sage named Bharat, and he actually becomes super obsessed at the end of his life with this baby deer that he saves out of a river. And he actually becomes a deer in his next life. So there is a tradition that actually your physical looks are something that you carry with you. It's your karma. There's also some stories in the Vedic literature about people being cursed with ugliness or even blessed with beauty based on their actions. So, this is another thread that I found really in all the face reading traditions. There is something to this. Maybe they're not calling it karma, but the energy that you bring with you into this lifetime shows up on your face
Hmm.
is the idea. Okay, this was a really interesting one. The Arabic tradition, al-Farasa. Oh, I don't know if I'm saying that right, but so this is originally developed by Bedouin tribes to distinguish friend from foe in the desert. This is the art of looking deeply to see what lies behind a person's features. So this tradition emphasizes an ideal symmetrical face, proposing that any deviation from that indicates personality traits or character flaws. So they said that there was an ideal face, and this is something um, that again, this idea of synastry is carried through a lot of different traditions, but the more perfect your face are, the more perfect your character was thought to be.
Hmm.
So we see this also here in Western traditions, the physiognomy of the Greek and European tradition. So this starts with we see ancient Greeks like Aristotle talking about this and writing about this. And they held that a perfectly symmetrical face was the ideal, with deviations indicating inner flaws. They compared human features to animals. So, like a lion-like face, for example, implied courage. And so they really believed that what you saw on the face was an indicator of what the person's character was like.
Hmm.
And this was something again that was brought forward into modern times. This saw a massive revival in the 18th century Europe, thanks to this guy named Johann Caspar Lavatar, who attempted to turn it into a science to judge moral character. And this is where face reading has started to get problematic, actually, and kind of sketchy because face reading has been used to justify various terrible things. Because
Hmm.
what they were doing basically when they were saying there is a perfect face, what they were basing it off of was a white, for the Greeks, a white Greek male face. And anything that deviated from that perfection, they thought their own faces were the perfect ideal. Anything that deviated showed some lesser quality or whatever. And so this was used to justify, obviously, racism, but eugenics specifically was really damaging. This is the idea that there is actually moral superiority in your race and that things like white skin indicated higher intelligence, possibly. This was used by white people to justify colonizing black and brown people and enslaving them by just asserting that they had the superior DNA based on their facial features. So again, this has been highly problematic.
I
You
mean,
know,
and yeah, it has been used a million times. I mean, even think World War II and Hitler and everything.
absolutely, absolutely.
I was
They
just
were,
thinking as we were going through all of this, like how really what was coming up for me of like all this is telling like how much actually power we kind of hold over each other in ways that we don't really that we're it's like instant. You know what I mean?
yeah.
How somebody that captivates you in beauty can be dangerous. And that's where it's like we have to keep each other and ourselves accountable if you do have that power or don't. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
Being
absolutely.
aware of it, at least.
We just have to be aware because this is where these subtle bits of programming have been put into our society. I mean, they
Hmm.
did actually criminal profiling based on your face. And
Hmm.
there is this idea that, like an uglier person, a darker person, these are the criminals. And this is just absolutely not true, but it's been used to justify terrible things against black and brown people, honestly, social and economic discrimination. So we just have to be super aware that when we're talking about face reading, we are not doing these things because it's been used to do those things. And the ancient traditions, this is not what it was used for. This was really, although I did just describe even how the Arab tradition said if you didn't have their perfect face, you were lesser than them. So there has been this propensity toward the people coming up with these systems to say, here's my ideal face, anything off of it,
Hmm.
you're less somehow. Okay. So
Hmm.
let's go to the modern studies because there has been some studies into these things. And basically came up with five types of studies that I found around faces. The first one really you already brought up. This is the halo effect. We subconsciously attribute positive traits like intelligence and kindness to people with symmetrical or attractive features. And this leads to significant bias in hiring and legal systems. There is pretty privilege. We do know about it.
Hmm.
We consistently see people rate those that they find more attractive as more intelligent, as more competent. It's
Hmm.
really interesting, which of course it's not true,
Hmm.
but this is something that they've found that we do. Also, there's a really interesting one that I was reading, this facial width to height ratio. This is a major area of study, and what they are finding really interesting, and there has been some results here. High testosterone during puberty can result in wider cheekbones, which some studies correlate with higher levels of assertiveness or aggression. They did a study of all these hockey players, and they found that the wider the face, the more penalties that they had
Oh,
during games. It's really, really interesting. They
that is
did
interesting.
find some evidence that if you have a wider, thicker jaw, there's some correlation between that and your actual upper body strength.
Mm.
So
Wow.
crazy. And people who are taller tend to have longer jaws and faces.
Mm,
Kind of like we think of like the people that are real tall and skinny with a long face. There
hmm.
is there is something to that. So that's kind of interesting too, because even though we're saying there's no way to tell how aggressive someone can be based on their face, turns out there is a little bit something to that.
Hmm.
Okay, so the the next one I found really concerns AI. So they've done a ton of AI studies on this, and they found that modern machine learning can predict personality traits, specifically extroversion. They were testing, can a computer, an AI,
Oh.
find extroverted people just based on their face? And they found
Hmm.
that yes, it can, slightly above chance accuracy. It was like 68% of the time they were finding the extroverted people.
Hmm.
They said researchers believe this is because our resting face is shaped by habitual muscle tension and grooming habits. So they, again, there's some questions about the validity of these kind of studies.
Well, but I did want to say, not really about the AI, but of like habitual resting face. I did have a really interesting experience one time getting Reiki. It was my first time ever getting Reiki, and I had pain in other areas of my body that I thought was going to come up and I was going to get healed. No, it turned out I had all of this tension in my head and my face that I
Mm,
didn't even realize that I literally did not realize that I had. And for the next like 4 days after that. I felt like I had a whole reset and I could barely smile. I could barely move. I had a headache. I had to let it go. And
interesting.
then I realized, like in the days, because people who do this, it's like when you're getting into these different healing modalities, like physical and then emotional always comes up. And I realized in the days coming that I had been putting my face to a certain resting face, even to look pleasant on purpose, like to
Mm,
express that on purpose to other people because and this was something I've been working on. It's like that people pleasing when I don't want
okay.
to show my real true feelings on the inside. So I constantly had like, you know what I mean?
Yes,
And
yes,
it's
yes.
crazy because, and I'm wondering how many
Right.
other people do the same thing and we don't even realize it.
I wonder. Wow, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the next research I found was about the left side of the face. So, research suggests that the left side of the face is more expressive because it's controlled by the right hemisphere of the brain, the one that's more dominant in processing emotion, which is
Oh.
really interesting. And I was thinking about this idea of the left side, the moon channel and the sun channel. We've heard that before, where the
Mhm.
moon channel is your emotions. This is more of a hidden side of your face versus your right side of your face, which is what you show the world, like your sun channel. Super
Whoa.
interesting,
That's
though.
interesting too because I always pose on my with my left face out.
That's
I don't
why.
really like to pose on my right on with my right face out. It
That's
feels
why we
different.
do that.
Yeah.
That's what's known is that we actually show more expression on the left side of our face. And
Mm.
if you've ever seen anyone do face analyzing and they cut your face in half and use like two left sides or two right
Yeah.
sides. I just did it a couple days ago and it was crazy. It was like, whoa. It was wild how asymmetrical my face actually was. I didn't realize how actually asymmetrical I was. And I was like, there is something to that.
Yeah.
Um,
And I'm wondering it's like too like how you sleep. I sleep on like
yeah,
one side, my face mushed like most of the night. I have a preference sleeping on my belly on my one side of my face. So there's ways to like undo it, I've read too, of
yeah.
like to help not undo, yeah, to help the asymmetry and get back to symmetrical.
Right, right. Okay. The last bit of research I found was on microexpressions. So this is science that focuses heavily on the dynamic face reading. These are the tiny involuntary muscle movements that reveal hidden emotions, which are supposedly leaked truths, rather than having like some fixed character trait. And this is all based on the research of Paul Ekman. He's a American psychologist and professor at the University of California. There's another typo. Uh, um, and he found six basic emotions that transcended cultural, geographical, and linguistic boundaries. And here these six faces are. So you tell me, and you're gonna get these. What are these faces? What six emotions are these faces showing?
Um, I would say the top one is like happiness or excitement. I don't know if
Okay.
those two are together.
Yep.
Obviously the second one seems sad.
Yep.
The third one is angry.
Okay.
The fourth one with the orange shirt is like shock, like disgust, like surprise.
Okay.
That the bottom male is like disgust,
Mm-hmm.
like, and then the bottom was definitely surprise.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so actually, why is it going backwards now suddenly? Well, it's supposed to pop up what those expressions are. I'll just tell you.
Okay.
It's happiness is the first one. It's sadness, anger, that's fear.
Oh, fear.
That's fear, that's
Yeah.
disgust, and that's surprise. And those are six emotions that he found regardless of what language, your culture, anything. And that's what all those expressions are based on, these same six emotions. And
Mhm.
that's where when you see someone talking and they exhibit a tiny for 1/5 to 1/25th of a second, they said.
Wow.
These micro expressions will go flash across our face. But
Hmm.
when you slow people's faces down, you can see them.
Hmm.
When they're talking about something in disgust, they'll make a certain face, and it's exactly what that guy does, where it's like you smelled something bad. It's
Yeah.
that. It's that face of, mm. And when you see somebody flash that in a second, we are really good as humans to pick those things up, especially if it's people we know. We know
Hmm.
well. We see the micro expressions. And that's where
Hmm.
it's like, oh, I can tell the person's upset. A
Hmm.
person's sad about that. A person's angry about that.
Hmm. And this
The
all
person,
comes back to like of us being more connected than we even think, because the fact that these are happening within like a second, we're not even consciously comprehending it. It's like so subconscious.
yes,
It makes me feel like, yeah, we are picking up on each other's energy fields in that way. It's like these microaggressions, it's because they spit off energy too, like you're spitting off disgust within, and I'm picking that up within seconds, within before
yes,
I even realize
yes.
that I'm picking it up.
You don't even know you're picking it up,
Yeah.
but you are because we're really good at reading faces as humans. As we know, we need 1/100th of a millisecond to see these things. So we do see these things on people's faces. So there is something to that. Now, I came across an article from this guy, Alexander Todorov, and he was one of the authors in that original study on the 100 milliseconds. Okay. And he
Mm.
talks about some of the limitations, which it's not going to come up, but I will tell you what they
Try to,
are.
if you click on it, click on the screen.
I don't know why it's suddenly now going backwards. I'm actually just, this is the first time we're trying this share. So I will tell you what the quote that's supposed to come up is him saying that one of the things this relies on is the idea that your face always looks the same, every single picture. And we know that's not the case.
Hmm.
You can look different in the morning than you will at night. I mean,
Hmm.
I'll just say you can look different depending on how you're doing your hair. He
Hmm.
brings up even in criminal cases, sometimes there's a dispute on whether a picture of a person is that person. Even
Hmm.
same person. We can have two pictures and we're like, is it them? We're not sure. You've seen
Hmm.
people have, body doubles, all that kind of stuff. So
Hmm.
it's all of these face studies are looking at a one moment capture, usually of someone's face. It's not the same as sitting in front of someone. So going back to those first traditions, if I'm going to a Chinese face reader and I'm sitting in front of them and they're looking at my face, they're going to see more of my face than they will if I just send them a 2D picture
Yeah.
of a moment in time, of
Yeah.
my mood, my sleep. Maybe I'm fasting. There's a lot of different things that really
Mhm.
affect your face. And so he brings this up in this really good article. There we go. Many of these studies are based on the fallacy that all facial images are representative of the face's owner. Yeah,
Okay.
not
Yeah.
all pictures are necessarily. It's like when you've had a bad picture.
I was just about to say that. I was like, we all know this. There's been pictures you're like, that's me? There's no way.
Right, that doesn't even look like me, or you're
Yeah.
doing something crazy. So there
Yep.
is that. There is that. Okay. Nevertheless, he says this, we are more likely to vote for politicians who look competent. How many typos did I have in this whole presentation, Anna? And I'm up to three now. Politicians who look competent, to invest in people who look trustworthy, and to assign harsher prison sentences to people who look opposite. And we know that this is the case. When it comes to presidents, we're way more likely to choose someone who's taller.
Mm.
That's been a thing. When we decide who we want to trust, we're more likely to trust somebody with bigger eyes and that are set
Oh,
farther apart. It's just
okay.
really interesting. And then
Hmm.
again, these ideas of who is a criminal, we are
Hmm.
more likely to sentence someone to a harsher punishment if we feel like um, they're their features suggest that they're a bad person.
Mm.
Todorov brings up this incident with Charles Darwin where he was almost not allowed to get on the boat that brought him to the Galapagos Islands, where he ended up writing his whole thesis. He was almost not allowed to get on the boat because the ship captain thought that his nose did not indicate enough determination, and he almost wasn't
Whoa.
let on there, right?
Whoa.
So at the time, people really truly thought if you have a shorter, smaller face, it means something, or a longer face, or a wider face. But actually, these are things that we still do.
We're still judging people off of, yeah, instantly.
We are still judging
Yeah.
people. Okay, so what we know, what faces reliably reveal to us, we can tell people's emotional state off of their face. This is
Hmm.
something we can. We can tell their approximate age. We
Hmm.
definitely can tell their approximate age from their face.
Hmm.
There's like a show we were watching called Age of Attraction. I don't know if you've seen
Oh
it,
yeah,
but it was
that's been everywhere.
right. But it's been these younger and older people, and they've kind of played it off like, oh, I didn't realize you were 58 or something. I mean,
Yeah.
come on. Come on. You know what I'm saying? Come on.
Yeah.
Like I go somewhere, I'm clearly not 25.
Yeah.
You can see somebody's age on their face. You can definitely see their general health. How healthy are you?
Mm.
That again is one of those things where when we think about symmetry and hooking up with partners and fertility, that symmetry
Mm.
does show a certain amount of fertility on a woman, for example, certain face shapes and body shapes.
Hmm.
And definitely we can see people's gender and ethnicity from their faces. I mean, for sure we can. So let's talk a little bit about intuition. We started asking at the very beginning, is it intuitive when we meet people? What is it? What actually affects it? So we've just learned a bunch of different things that possibly affect our faces. We know personal bias actually comes into play when it comes to this, as far as what do we believe about certain people's types of faces. Our personal
Yeah.
bias will absolutely affect what we think about this.
Hmm.
And we could have some subconscious memories where we don't even really remember, but there's something about somebody that just rubs us wrong. And maybe there was someone super mean to us when we were 2 years old that looks like that person. We don't
Yeah.
actually consciously remember, but our brain is telling us, this person's a no-go for some reason.
Yeah, or the opposite way of when we talk about like you meet someone and you just know like I've met you before, like I've seen your face before. Like there's something with
There's
that
something
too. It's like
familiar
if
about
some
you.
people, yeah, it's like
How
no,
many times have you
I,
met someone where you're like, God, you look so familiar, but you can't place it, or you haven't met them as lifetime? Okay, so
uh-huh.
so that goes to my third one, which is past life remembrance. Now, you may or may not believe in this, but something my evolutionary astrology teacher was talking about, which was, is it possible that you might have remembrance is not spelled right either. Wow, Shannon, that's four. Um, I need to have you edit my slideshows, Virgo, before we do these. Anyway, that you might remember something subconsciously, energetically about someone from a past life. You've never met them, but
Mhm.
you've had interactions with this person possibly in a past life. So when you meet them, that's what you're reacting to. It's like
Yeah.
almost like your higher self. Like you said, I know you. You look
Hmm.
familiar to me, or
Some
I
people
know
you
you.
just
Like,
trust.
oh, you
Yeah.
ever meet somebody that you just instantly disliked?
Yeah. You meet some people that you instantly trust and then you meet people that you instantly do not trust.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
maybe it's from a past life. I mean, you may or may not believe in that, but if
Hmm.
that's the case, then some of this is out of your control totally of
Hmm.
how you react to people.
Hmm.
We might not know. We might not know. Okay, so we are going to do a test now. I just want to take this moment. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe to our channel, all the YouTube things. I wanted to say that before we start. Okay, so I'm going to start a little test, Anna, and I just want you to answer each one of these as we go.
Okay,
Okay.
let's do it.
All right. Which one of these sets of eyes is the notorious spy?
Hmm.
Yeah, if you're watching, just guess to yourself. Which
Yeah,
one
I
of
think
these appeared to be
this
the
is hard
notorious
because
spy?
they both have something, they both have this feeling that gives me spy. But
Yeah,
I will
right.
say I'm leaning towards the second picture, so the darker hair picture, the darker hair.
Okay. Like the one on, as you're looking at it, the right.
Yeah.
Okay. That is Mata Hari, who was a famous spy from like world 20s, I want to say. And of
Wow.
course, the left side, we have Marie Curie, who was a scientist.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
interesting, right? Okay, next one. Which of these foreheads belongs to a famous male singer? We're supposed to be able to tell something about someone by their forehead. So which one is the famous male singer? Left or right? I should have numbered these as like one or two or whatever.
I think it's again, it's kind of hard. I'm gonna say the left this time.
Do you see my pointer?
Yeah.
Do you mean this one?
Yeah.
Okay. Actually, it
See,
is the one on the
I
right.
I almost went because I was thinking it was Elvis because that hair. I was like, no,
Yep.
I
Elvis's
accidentally said that.
very famous hairline.
Yeah.
Actually, Judy Garland has a very similar hairline. Okay.
Yeah.
Which ear belongs to someone who was assassinated? One of these people was assassinated.
I'll say instantly the first one for some reason.
This one right here
Yeah.
is the one you're thinking?
Yeah.
You are correct. That is the ear of Martin Luther King Jr., who
Wow.
was assassinated. The right one, the other one being George Washington Carver, a famous inventor.
Wow.
Okay. What color are her eyes?
Is it like a hazel?
Okay, they're brown. That was Jackie Kennedy.
Oh, okay.
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 How about hers? What color are her eyes?
I think blue.
Okay, that is blue. That's Grace Kelly. She has some famously blue eyes. Okay. Is this person an actress or a murderer?
I feel like murderer.
What do you think is making you feel that way?
I don't know. There's like a little twitch. There's a little something that seems devious about the eyes.
Okay, you're right. This is a murderer, Jodi
Hmm.
Arias.
I also feel like
Okay.
I actually know that girl.
Yeah, you might. To me, it was like like the right here. It's like this eye right here
Yes, it was.
is
It's
like
like
there's something off there.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Which eyes belong to royalty?
I want to say the first one again, the left.
This one?
Yeah.
Okay, you're right. That is Queen Kamakaeha, the last
Oh,
queen of Hawaii. And the other one, of course, Grigory Rasputin, a very famous
wow.
Russian mystic and faith healer. So you were right.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's something. There was some. It's crazy because it's weird. It's not really, it's just like a feeling
Yeah,
that
right.
comes.
Right. Okay. Which one of these noses belongs to a president? Which nose belongs to a president?
I wanted to say the last one, like the farthest to the
This
right.
one?
Yeah.
Okay. Actually, it's the middle one. Middle one
Okay. I
belongs
was
to
gonna
Ronald
go with the middle
Reagan.
one next. I was gonna go with the middle one next.
Okay.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. Okay. Is this person a musician or are they a
I
scientist?
think that's Nikola Tesla. I think it's a scientist.
He's very no, yeah. I gave
Yeah.
this to Dennis and your brother, and they got Tesla right away.
He
He has very
powerful man.
yeah, those eyes are very
Super
distinct,
crazy. He's very recognizable, which is
very
rare.
recognizable, very recognizable. I wondered, I thought you might get him. Okay, so are these the ears of politicians or movie stars? These are two different people. Are they politicians or are they movie stars?
I think politicians.
Okay. You're right. That's George W. Bush and Xi
Wow.
Jinping. It's like so interesting looking about this whole idea of do they listen? As we were
Wow.
talking about the ear being open, do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
There's something about that. Okay. Okay. Which nose belongs to a murderer?
I think the first one, so to the
You're
left.
saying this one?
Yeah.
Okay. It's actually the other one. This is Lizzie
Oh.
Borden.
Oh wow.
I tried to use people that you wouldn't necessarily recognize. She was like a
Well,
person
now
who
if I
was,
saw her eyes, I would have said her.
yeah, right. This is Wallace Simpson, who King Edward abdicated to hit the throne of England to Mary.
Oh,
That's who she is.
okay.
Okay. Which one of these are the eyes of a first lady? So she was
I,
married to a president. Which one?
I think the first one. I
You're
think
saying
the
these ones here.
yeah, yeah.
You're right. That is Eleanor Roosevelt. And of course, Marilyn Monroe has pretty famous
I
eyes
was
too.
gonna
And I
say
bet
because
you
I
now
thought
that you see him, you're like,
I
oh
know I
yeah,
thought it was Marilyn. That's why I thought I don't think it's her because she didn't
yeah.
lady
She
or
has
she
really distinctive features, very
yeah.
distinctive features. That's, of course, a very young Eleanor Roosevelt. Okay. Is this person a diplomat or a singer?
I think a diplomat, I want to say. I don't think a singer.
You're right. This is Patricia Roberts Harris. She was the first black cabinet member back in the 70s. She was the ambassador to Luxembourg.
Hmm.
Okay. How about this lady? Is she an actress or a murderer?
I wanted to say murderer instantly.
Right, just the way her eyes look.
Yeah.
This is actually Isadora Duncan. She was a famous actress from like the 20s,
Wow.
30s. But yeah, those eyes make her look suspicious, do they not? To me,
Yeah.
this made me think of that whole thing of your face only looks a certain way. They're only capturing a certain part of your face. So it's almost like the way she's like tilted back like that is giving her eyes a very
Seems
suspicious
sad.
look.
Yeah, almost like sad.
Right.
Like
Sad. Yeah, it looks sad. I agree. She
yeah.
looks sad. I think so too. Okay. Whose death remains a mystery?
I think the second guy, so to the right.
This one?
Yeah.
That's actually Amelia Earhart. You're correct.
Wow.
Queen Victoria on the left there. Yes.
Yeah.
Amelia Earhart. Although
Wow.
they're saying that they keep saying they found her possibly, but
Hmm. I was obsessed with that story when I was a kid.
right. Okay, which one of these noses has been to space?
Hmm. I'll say the second one again. So to the right,
This
that one.
one?
Yeah.
Actually, the one on the left. That's John Glenn.
I almost said
Astronaut
that.
John Glenn. And of course, John F. Kennedy. Okay. Is this a politician, an athlete, or a musician?
I think a musician.
Yes, this is Ella Fitzgerald,
You could
famous
just
singer.
it seemed like something about her gave creative.
Yeah, yes. Her eyes are very
Yeah.
like the shiny and very,
Yeah.
yeah, very creativity. Yeah. Okay. How about this eye? Does this belong to an actress or a criminal?
Well, my mind wants to say actress just of the way the eyebrows and the eyelashes, like she seems actress-like.
Okay. This is Elizabeth Taylor, that famous arched eyebrow, a young Elizabeth Taylor. Yes. Okay. I think this is the last one. Which eyes belong to the serial killer?
I didn't like that. That first one's creeping me out.
Which eyes?
The ones that,
You're saying
oh,
this one right
yeah,
here?
yeah. I don't like
Okay,
that.
that is actually the 1927 Nobel Prize winner Arthur Compton
Oh, I
next to
wonder what's going
Unabomber
on.
Ted Kaczynski. And you know,
Wow.
now that you look at the eyes, okay, he's real smart. And if you think, if I would have said which one of these is a Nobel Prize winner, which would have you have answered? Because he
Him.
almost looks like devoid of emotions.
Yeah,
Like,
you're right. I would have, if you would have said who's a Nobel Prize, I would have picked that guy too.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So there's
But
definitely
that gave
something
me
there.
heebie-jeebie though, for some reason.
Right. Yeah. I mean, just his face for sure, for sure. Okay, so that's the end of that. All right. So,
Cool.
at this point, I wanted to see if we could get a little bit of a face reading. So I fed our faces into
Wow.
ChatGPT and asked it to give us a face reading. Now, first of all, ChatGPT is a certain way, and there's a couple little errors, like the number 6 on your chin is supposed to say 9. So
Oh,
we know that ChatGPT, this is just for fun, and it could be, I hope those Chinese characters are correct. I don't know.
yeah.
But let me just read to you what it said. And also, it gave you my same hair. Once I put myself in and yourself in, it like first popped you out with gray hair. Like it thought that was me. It
And we
said,
look very similar.
which we look pretty similar. Once I saw our
Yeah.
faces, I was like, wow. So you can see it
Yeah.
just kept your hair, it kept my hair on you.
Yeah.
It just turned it brown. Okay, so this is what it says about our faces. Okay, my face. A broad open forehead, soft with defined eyes with warmth and steadiness. A well-shaped nose centered and balanced, a full expressive smile, a grounded jawline with gentle strength. Okay, this says I have my forehead says I have early life intellect. The eyes talk about the spiritual and emotional world. Um, it says that Okay, wait. It says that I have strong early development of awareness. I learn through observation and reflection. Um, it says I have emotional intelligence and lived experience, but I do have wrinkles on my face. And to that, part of when I was doing the research, I came across a bunch of different people talking about what happens when you change your face. One
Mhm.
particular Chinese astrologer was saying that your personality can actually shift with your face.
Mm.
So if you have a very prominent nose that suggests a certain way and you get a nose job, you might
Yeah,
actually change your personality.
I can see
Right.
that.
So
Mhm.
this is saying that my nose is has a steady relationship to power and resources, and it suggests self-earned stability rather than luck-based gain, which I would say that's true. This is someone who builds slowly, but what they build lasts. Okay, I'll take that.
Mhm.
It says I'm an honest communicator and I have a life of speaking truth, even when costly. I was like, okay. My chin and jaw say that I have resilience without bitterness, and I'll have strong later life fulfillment. Says that my life will improve with age, which, yay, I'll take that.
Mhm.
Okay, so on your face, it gives you a smooth, rounded forehead, bright, open eyes. It says that your forehead says you have clear potential and openness in early life, and your life is marked by possibility right now. This is
Mm.
someone writing the story still. It says that your face says that you have a trusting nature and you're curious. You engage the world through connection first,
All true.
right? The nose is the wealth palace, which reminds me of something else I heard a Chinese astrologer say, because the wealth, your nose is your wealth palace. He was saying after 50, you don't want to have a nose ring because you're literally putting a hole in your wealth palace and you will lose money. Your
Well,
wealth will flow right out the hole in your nose, which is like really interesting.
that
Anyway,
is interesting.
your wealth palace says you have a developing sense of identity and value. Your wealth here is less material, more relational right now. It says you have a potential for growth. It's not fully claimed yet. That's what your
Mm.
nose says. Okay, your mouth says that you are expressive, friendly, and socially attuned. says you have a ease in forming bonds. Your style is inviting and non-confrontational.
Yeah, I would
And
agree
your,
with all that.
yes, and your chin says that you have flexibility, adaptability, and your life path may involve finding and strengthening boundaries over time.
Isn't
That's
that something?
that sounds something like your overall archetype is a life driven by growth, exploration, and emotional experience. Your identity is still forming and expanding, but you have power that comes from openness rather than structure.
Wow,
And
I think
that's
it's pretty spot on.
ChatGPT's.
Yeah.
That's ChatGPT's opinion about our faces for fun. Anyway, I thought it
Wow.
was kind of interesting. And this whole topic I thought was actually pretty interesting.
For
Mm,
sure. Because I
Let me
mean,
stop sharing.
we're
Yeah.
all just creatures. This is how we interact with each other. We're picking up on so many cues on so many levels, and we've been talking about that with intuition in general. There's so
Yeah.
many different things that we're picking up that we're not even aware of at all times.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was really fascinating. I learned actually a lot about how we relate to one another. You do see a lot of people doing videos on like body language and, the facial expressions and stuff. But just
Hmm.
the idea that our faces, just as they are, tell the world something about who we are. It's
Hmm.
definitely true. It's definitely true. So does facial reading work? I would say it does. It's just how much weight we put into it. Seems like we decide within 100th of a 100 millionth of a second or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's
Wow.
already decided for us.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. Thanks for watching. Leave us your comments. How'd you do on the quiz?
Yeah,
You
and
want to
come back
hear?
next week where we're going to dive into a similar interesting topic, different than just doing intuition object tests. We're going to do another one of these, and yeah, we'll see what we get into.
Okay. Thanks. Thanks for watching.
Yeah.
See you next time.